Greetings of peace to each and everyone. I am Precious Rian S. Balayanan, and I am going to report about the Module 2 ICT policies and safety issues implications to teaching and learning. So, students and teachers getting themselves ready into the new educational system of the 21st century. So, we can't deny the fact that nowadays the use of ICT was dominant, and what I mean with that is that students and teachers can access internet with just one click. So even through with the use of social media, we can learn, we can gain knowledge, and we can get information wherever we are. Now moving on to the definition of ICT. So ICT is the mode of education that use information and communication technology to support, enhance, and optimize the delivery of information. So basically, ICT is information and communication technology, a diverse set of technological tools and resources used to communicate, create and restore, and manage information. And one thing about this is that it can lead to an improved students' learning and better teaching methods. So, ICT permeates all aspects of life, providing newer, better, and quicker ways for people to interact, network, seek help, gain access to information, and learn. Next is policy. So, what is policy? So, policy provides guidance, consistency, accountability, efficiency, and clarity on how an organization operates. So, policies are very important or essential because this will help a school establish operating procedures and create standards of quality for learning and teachings as we all set out expectations and accountability. So without this, schools would lack the structure and function necessary to provide educational needs of the students. Now moving on to the ICT policies. So ICT policies is a course of action adopted and pursued by the government, ruler, and statements. But according to the Oxford Dictionary, it has defined policy as any course of action adopted as expedient or advantageous. Its operational definition of policy is a plan of action to guide decisions and achieve outcomes. Thus, ICT policies are needed to put a roadmap or course of actions to be pursued and adopted by various governments, organizations, entities involving ICT. So, ICT policies are needed to put a roadmap, DICT or Department of Information and Community Technology. So, a roadmap was formulated to guide all the agencies in the utilization, regulations, and enhancement of ICT. So, the ICT for Education or the ICT4E is a program under the DICT or the Department of Information and Community Technology that supports all the efforts of education sector in incorporating the use of ICT as well as in determining and gaining success to the infrastructure such as hardware, software, telecommunications, facilities and others which are necessary to use and deploy learning technologies at all levels of education. And now we have here the 7 ICT policies recommended program that have applications to education for teaching and learning. So number 1, we have the master plan for all levels. So it includes a national roadmap for faculty development in ICT education. So this is why teachers nowadays are subject to different seminars in ICT or ICT related seminars. Number 2 is content and development. This is through the Open Content in Education initiative, which converts DepEd materials into interactive multimedia content develop applications used in schools, and conduct teachers and students to promote development of education-related web content. So, as far as we observe, teachers are now transferring the modality from traditional face-to-face to the use of ICT tools in the delivery of instructions. So number 3 is the PedNet. So this one is a walled garden, the host of educational learning and teaching materials and application for use by Filipino students, their parents, and teachers. So all public high schools will be part of this network. So this basically means that this network is intended only for registered personal computers, that is under the supervision of the ICT head of the Department of Education. And number 4 is established community or e-learning center called Escuela for out-of-school youth, or OSY, providing them with ICT enhanced and alternative education and opportunities. So since we have youth that is not enrolled formally or out of school, we are extending, or the Department of Education or the Department of Education sector is extending a help to enhance and orient the OSY or the out of school youth to an ICT enhanced alternative education. Now, number 5 is equality program for tertiary education through partnerships with state universities and colleges to improve quality of IT education and the use of ICT education in the country. Number 6 is digital media arts program, which builds digital media skills for government using open source technology. And the last one is number 7, ICT skills strategic plan, which develops an interagency approach to identifying strategic and policy program recommendations to address ICT skills demand supply type. So all these 7 programs were guided by the roadmap that embeds the policy statement that relates to education, specifically in the enhancement of human development to teaching and learning in connection of utilizing the use of ICT. And now we have here the implications of ICT policies in teaching and learning. So number 1, we have for the teachers and teaching. Number 2, for the learners and learning. So it basically improves the effectiveness of education. It aids literacy movement, enhances scope of education by facilitating mobile learning and inclusive education. So it facilitates research and scholarly communication. Now, in our world today, globalization is very prevalent. And when I say prevalent, globalization is reality. It is something that we have now and we use it for every day. As we can all observe that almost everything that we do is influenced by the ICT, as we use our phones for communicating, we watch TVs and televisions, we watch movies, catching a flight or whatsoever that will make our life easier is a influence of ICT. And we can't even deny the fact that some students are more techie from the teacher, and but as a student and a future educator someday, if it is God will or what, the teacher should guide and teach students to use technologies properly and responsibly, because it really means something, because the human touch of a teacher is still a vital component in teaching. So concerning that slowly new technologies replace the human workforce, we don't want that to happen when the time will come that teachers will be replaced by robots. Now, technologies makes our life easier and comfortable. it is a helpful tool in education, but we shouldn't be a slave of technology. Let us learn together with the use of technology responsibly and with moderation, because everything is good in moderation. So, even though information and communication technology or the ICT contributes to universal access to education, equity in education, or the delivery of quality learning and teaching, there will be always some struggle or challenge for those who cannot access, marginalized, and powerless. So we have here some issues on ICT and internet policy regulation that has relationship to civil liberties and human rights. So these are under by the global issues. So access and civil liberties are two sets of issues in ICT policy which are crucial in the modern society. And the other concern is civil liberties, which refer to human rights and freedom. So this will include the freedom of expression, the right to privacy, the right to communicate, and intellectual property rights. So we have here access to the use of internet and ICT. So access means the possibility for everyone to use the internet and other media in richer countries. Basic access to internet is almost available to all with faster broadband connections. But there are still countries where access to internet is still a challenge. So now we have issue number one, the freedom of expression and censorship. So it states here that under international human rights conventions, all people are guaranteed the right for free of expression. So this means that it modifies the understanding of freedom of expression and censorship. So the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights provides that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, likewise the right to freedom of opinion and expression. Censorship restricts the transmissions of information by blocking it or filtering information. So we have here examples. We have individual rights, censorship, and defamation. So when we say individual rights, they are given up in order to have access to electronic networks. And when we say censorship, this restricts the transmission of information by blocking it or filtering the information. So the word blocking is preventing access to whole areas of internet based upon the blacklist of certain internet address, location, or email address, while the word filtering is sifting the packets of data or messages as they move across computer networks and eliminating those considered undesirable materials. So the selection of sites that are blocked or filtered has been considered as an issue. So the last one is defamation. So it means that actions may be used to silence critics. So this action deters the freedom of expression. Now we have number two, the privacy and security. So it states that when someone uses site and clicks I agree button, it is as if you have turned over information to any authority that may access to it. So it basically means that that it is a turnover information that anyone may access to it. So there are examples. Number one is the personal privacy. Then we have the privacy of communications, and then the last one is information's privacy. So when we say personal privacy, for most, privacy means personal privacy. So the right of individual not to have their home, private life, or personal life interfered with. And then the privacy of communication refers to the protection from interference with communication over the phone or internet. So respect for privacy of communication is an essential prerequisite for the maintenance of human relationship via technological communication media. So the last example is information privacy, which states that it is related to the use of computers and communication systems which are able to hold and process information about large numbers of people at high speed. So it is important to ensure that information will only be used for purposes for which it was gathered and will not be disclosed to others without consent of the individuals. And now we have number 3, the surveillance and data retention. So surveillance is a targeted form of monitoring usually conducted to obtain specific data or evidence and usually occurs without the person knowing they are being watched, such as data being collected from apps without a person's knowledge. So when there are examples, so when we say indirect surveillance, it is no direct contact between the agent and the subject for surveillance, but evidence of activities can be traced. So that is the example number 1, the indirect surveillance. Now we have the data surveillance. So the use of this is the use of personal information to monitor a person's activities. And then the last one is data retention. So it is the storage and use of information from communication systems. Now moving on from the last one, which is the e-pollutants from e-waste. So this one is generated by ICT. So these are in particular terminal equipments for computing, broadcasting, telephony, and peripherals. And now presenting the new ICT technologies or technological innovations. So we have here the information technology. So this includes the use of computers, which became indispensable in modern societies. So to process data and save time and effort. So what are needed will be computer hardware and peripheral software, and for the user, computer literacy. And then we have telecommunications technology. So telephones and the broadcasting of radio and televisions, often through satellites. So telephone system, radio, and TV broadcasting are needed in this category. And then we have the networking technologies. Networking technologies, which is best known for internet. So the best known for networking technologies is internet. So, but then it has extended to mobile phone technology. So voice over internet protocol, or VoIP, satellite communications, and other forms of communication are still in their infancy. So in addition to internet, this category also includes mobile telephones, cable, BSL, satellites, and other broadband connectivity.